Okay, so I was in the kindergarten room the other day, and I'm sitting down with a girl coloring the little picture, and she looks at me with this serious face, and she says, "Do you have a wife?" And I said, No, I don't have a wife. "Do you have any kids?" I said, No, no kids. If I had kids, I'd have to go take care of them, and I couldn't be here coloring with you." So she thought about it for a second, and she looked back at me with a very serious face. She said, "Go get a wife." I just thought it was the funniest thing coming from a kindergartner. And so, I see a lot of people on a regular basis, and I get a lot of questions. And so I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I did a top 10? Top 10 things I get asked.
Are you a monk? I didn't think you were allowed out of the monastery.
Well, actually, I'm not a monk, though we're very similar. Both of us take vows. We live a life together in prayer. But the difference is we go out into the world. Our ministry is outside of the house. And so we work in churches and schools. We run soup kitchens, and we're social workers. We're for the life of the world.
So what are you wearing? Do you wear that all the time, or do you have to wear it all the time?
That's an excellent question. What I have here is called a habit, after the Latin word habitus, like a way of life. So what we do is we put this thing on in the same way we put on this life. It represents the life we live. So for Francis, that meant wearing the simplest clothes he had, a sackcloth and a rope. For us, it's also symbolic. So we have 3 knots here representing our vows: poverty, chastity, and obedience. As far as when we wear it, I find it to be great to wear it out so it starts conversations and people know who we are. But we don't have to wear it, and we're free to go in regular clothes. But really, I find it pretty awesome, because there are some secret pockets here. I have my keys here. I have a pocket here. I've got my 2 here. And what about this? My pen and my cards. Isn't that awesome? And then, oh yeah.
My friend is a Jesuit. Is that the same thing?
Oh, that's great to hear. It's very close because there are a lot of different types of religious. There are Jesuits, Dominicans, Carmelites, and Franciscans, just to name a few. And we're all Christian and we're all trying to live the gospel, but we all have a slightly different charism. For the Franciscans, we're driven by poverty and minority, fraternity, and a life of prayer. And from those tenets, we go out into the world.
So you take vows? Which one's the hardest?
Well, just as married couples take solemn vows before God, so do we. Our commitment is lifelong, and they're very, very important. We take 3 vows: poverty, chastity, and obedience. Or as some of our friars like to say, no money, no honey, do what you're told. And it's kind of hard to define them sometimes, but for poverty it means that we live a very simple life, and we're to call nothing our own. If there's someone who needs something, we're to share, to not take possession of something, not to appropriate. That's a key. For chastity, we're called to love all people. So as a married couple represents God's focused love, we represent the breadth of God's love, that we love all, and we're free to do so. And obedience means that we're loyal to our brothers, that we listen to our superiors, and that we're free to give ministry anywhere we're called. As far as the most difficult, most people think it's chastity, and I always thought it'd be chastity. But really, obedience can be a very difficult one, because it means giving up your will. It means being there for your brothers when sometimes you don't want to, but it really is the most rewarding one.
How old are you? Are you old enough to be a Franciscan?
I'm getting really tired of that question. I am a grown man. I'm a grown man. I am 26 years old. Yes, I'm old enough to be a friar. I entered when I was 22. Thank you very much.
So what's the difference between a brother and a priest?
This is a good one. Do you know how you can tell the difference between a brother and a priest just by looking at them? You can't. And that's the beauty of our order. We're all called to be brothers. We're all equals in each other's eyes. The only difference is that some of us are called to be priests. But at the end of the day, we're all brothers.
So what made you want to become a Franciscan?
Well, the fact of the matter is, I didn't for a very long time. My whole time in college and high school, I was dating, I was thinking about doing completely other things, and when asked if I wanted to be a friar, I would say, heck no, not me. But you know what? One summer I spent living at a church. I lived in community, we prayed together, we ate together, and I realized how awesome it was to live in community. That I didn't need a one-on-one relationship to be happy. But in fact, I could be happy in the whole group. And there was something about that that really attracted me to friar life, that we could be in a fraternity. We could live together and work together and pray together. There's something really attractive about that. And so I had to check it out.
So how did you know you wanted to be a friar?
Well, you know, as much as I would have loved for God to have a direct answer, send me an email, that never really came. But what did come were good men and women around me, reminding me of the good gifts God had given me and the ways that the church needed good men and women to step up and lead. And so I tried it. I felt this yearning inside me to say, maybe I could do this. Maybe I would be good at this. And what I found was each and every day I felt more fulfilled. I felt more comfortable. And you know what I realized? God does not call through fear. He calls through love. And as I lived this life, I felt God's love.
So what's the best and the worst thing of being a friar?
I would say the best thing is that we are a fraternity in mission. So whereas some do great ministry, but they do it by themselves, we're always with our brothers. So we're never by ourselves. And so think about that, the way that we pour ourselves out in service for the church. We've got a brother there making us laugh, making us joyful, and really just ragging on us. It's a great thing to be with your brothers in something you love. Ironically enough, the worst thing about being a friar is that you're a fraternity in mission. You can never really get away. Your brothers can annoy you. You got good days and you got bad days. Sometimes you just say, I don't want to be around you, brother. But that's the life we live. We accept these brothers because those are the ones God gave us.
So you can't get married?
So you can't get married?
Hey, you can't get married?
Hey, no, I can't get married. And it's amazing that people get so hung up on this question. There's a reason it's the number one question, because it's the thing people most think about. When I was discerning, I wondered, oh no, I can't get married? It's amazing that you think, oh, look at all I give up to be a friar. But you know what? Look at all the things I'd give up if I were married. There are certain things that I can only do as a friar. And it wasn't until I realized that I was choosing between two really good things that I realized, man, I got to discern this seriously. And I'm so glad I did. It would be great to be married, but it is awesome to be a friar. So we've just answered 10 questions, but we may not have answered your question. So if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, leave it in the comments. If your question is, how do I get more videos? You can subscribe by clicking here. Also, be sure to check out my blog at breakinginthehabit.org.
Casey, now that we're done, and I have a bonus question for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm sweating and it's so hot out here.
Yeah, it's hot.
What are you wearing under that habit?
I get asked that a lot, and it's just shorts and a t-shirt. It is really, really hot, but it's comfortable most of the time.